Would you give away the only thing you had left in the world? Under the cold, flickering streetlights of a bustling city, James, a homeless man with worn-out shoes and an empty stomach, sat quietly on a park bench. The air was biting, and the city buzzed with the holiday spirit, bright decorations, laughter spilling from coffee shops, and passers-by carrying wrapped gifts. But for James, it was just another night of survival. A former factory worker, life had dealt him cruel blows, a layoff, mounting debts, and the loss of his family in a tragic accident had left him with nothing. Now, his only companions were an old blanket and a small, crumpled tin can where he hoped strangers might toss a coin or two. As the evening deepened, a young woman, visibly distressed and searching her purse frantically, caught James's attention. She muttered under her breath, her phone clutched tightly in one hand. James couldn't ignore the worry on her face. What could a man with nothing offer to someone else in need? James didn't know, but he felt compelled to act. Little did he realize that his next move would not only change her life, but also his own. James had lived on the streets long enough to know the weight of loneliness and despair. Each day, he fought the same battle, the battle for survival. His stomach growled with hunger, but his pride held him back from begging outright. Instead, he'd settle for the quiet hope that someone would notice him, a glance, a smile, a spare coin. But no one ever did. He often reminisced about the life he once had, a steady job, a small apartment, weekends spent with his wife and daughter. It all felt like a distant dream now. He had been a man of pride, a man who had been able to provide for his family, a man who had once been someone. Now, he was just another face in the crowd, invisible to most. But tonight was different. Tonight, something tugged at his heart as he watched the young woman pace nearby. She looked out of place, like she had just stepped out of a glamorous world that he could no longer imagine. Her face was pale, her eyes frantic. She was in distress. James watched her from a distance, unsure what to do. Was she just another wealthy city dweller caught up in her own problems, or was there something deeper going on? His thoughts raced. Should he approach her? But what could a man like him offer, other than a glimpse of his misery? Maybe she wouldn't even notice him. He wasn't used to being noticed. As the minutes passed, he debated with himself, the internal battle waging. Should he offer her help or remain in the shadows of his own grief? He had nothing to give. No money. No resources. Just his time, his understanding, his humanity. The young woman's voice broke through his thoughts. She had dropped her phone, and it shattered against the pavement. She sank to the ground, her face in her hands, tears streaming down her cheeks. That was the moment. Something stirred deep within him, an instinct, a recognition of her pain. Without thinking, James stood up. He knew he had no choice. This was his chance to do something that mattered, even if it was just for a moment. James approached the woman slowly, his heart pounding in his chest. He wasn't sure what he was doing, but something inside him urged him forward. He reached down and gently touched her shoulder, causing her to look up, her tear-streaked face filled with confusion. "I'm sorry," James said softly, his voice hoarse. "Are you okay?" The woman wiped her eyes, still shaky. I can't find my wallet, and I need to catch a train. I'm stuck." James didn't hesitate. He had a crumpled $20 bill tucked into his pocket, the last of the little money he had earned from occasional odd jobs. It was all he had. He could have kept it for himself, he could have used it for food, for warmth. But looking at the woman, her distress mirroring a pain he knew too well, James made a decision. With a trembling hand, he pulled the bill from his pocket and held it out to her. "Here, take this. It's all I've got, but it should be enough to get you home." The woman looked at the bill, then at James, stunned. I can't take this. You need it more than I do." James shook his head, his own eyes welling up. "It's okay. I've been where you are. Please, take it. The woman stared at him for a moment, and then, with a shaky breath, she took the money. Thank you. Thank you so much. James watched as she hurried away, her steps lighter, her burden eased. A wave of warmth spread through him, filling the empty places inside. For the first time in a long time, he felt like he mattered. A few days later, as James sat bundled in his blanket on the same park bench, something unexpected happened. A sleek black car pulled up beside him. A well-dressed man stepped out and approached him with a warm smile. "Are you James?" he asked. James blinked, caught off guard. "Yes, that's me." The man extended his hand. "I'm Jack Walker, CEO of Walker Enterprises. My daughter was the one you helped the other night. She told me everything. She was stranded, panicked, and you gave her the last of your money." James stared, confused. I didn't think I did anything special." Jack smiled. "You did. She was so touched by your kindness, she insisted I meet you. We want to help. I have a job offer for you. And, we've arranged a small place for you to stay." The ripple of kindness had changed everything. What started with one selfless act would now transform James's life forever. James couldn't believe it. In a matter of days, his life had transformed from despair to hope. The job offered by Jack gave him a fresh start, something he hadn't even dared to dream about. And the small apartment, warm and quiet, was a far cry from the cold bench he had once called home. But more than that, James felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had given without expecting anything in return, and in doing so, he had changed not only his own life but also the woman's life, and even Jack's. For the young woman, the act of kindness had been a reminder that there was goodness in the world, even in the most unlikely places. She had learned that sometimes, people who have the least can give the most. James had discovered something invaluable, that generosity, no matter how small, can ignite a spark of change in ways we may never fully understand.